Okay. Sorry about that. Peace to the gods. Peace to the gods. Had a little problem with the sound just then. Want to welcome everybody to today's show. I'm going to be discussing business trust and just common law trust in general. And I'm going to be discussing trust today because that seems to be a very, very popular topic um, that's going all around the internet right now. And you see various I just see a lot of just funny information, surrounding trust. And and tonight, we have a class tonight at 9 o'clock on SBC University. I have a class every day now. If you want to join SBC University, just go there, 69.99. You pay that, you get access to all the classes, all the quests, all you pay, you get access to everything. All the classes are recorded, you get access to that. But I want to talk a little bit also about um, information that you get from my website. There is some information from my website that I allow people to download, and then there's other web information from my website that I don't allow people to download. And what's really disrespectful is when I have a document and it ends up on the internet, floating around the internet. And that really to me, and I just want to speak to the individuals that do that real quick. Let me say this to you, bro. I know that you think that information should be free. And I'm telling you that information should not be free. I I've come to learn, and let me say this. It took me a while to develop this mindset, but I had to as I grew into an adult, mature man, I began to understand and study the principles of nature and began to honor God. I began to understand some things. So when I'm saying this to you is to help you. You didn't make me, you can't break me. If you spend a lot of time trying to tear another man's business down, all it's going to do, that karma is going to come back to you, and it's just going to destroy your life. You're just going to get what you put out. So if you steal stuff, put people's information on the internet, I remember when I saw old girl, she does the law of attraction, and they had put a lot of her videos on YouTube. So she had all of them taken down. And so she had an event, and then one of the members, somebody who had paid to come, they were going to kind of confront her about it. Like, why are you taking people's information, your videos down off the internet? And she just hit him with a question that was so powerful. She said, "Explain to me why you think you have some entitlement to receive something for free." And I've never gotten an answer to that. Like people who say, "Well, you charge for information." Well, explain to us why you think you are entitled to receive the labor of somebody else for free. You go to work and you don't work for free. You're not working for free. And then you're taking people's information and spreading it around and doing things like that, things that people have worked hard on, and then you're just trying to give it away for free. I look at that as somebody attempting to destroy somebody's business. Now, it's just an attempt because it'll never work because it's just not going to work. That's not how you destroy a person's business by trying to disseminate information they're teaching or something like that. It's just like, that's not going to destroy anything. People still got to understand it. They still got to read it. And today's population, probably only 1 out of 10 people actually read anything. So you're not doing anything, and then they have to understand what they're reading. I understand the information that I'm putting out. I've studied it. I've researched it. I put in over my 10,000 hours. That's what you have to do. And once you do that, you deserve compensation for the time and energy that you put in for something. And this is this democratic mindset. I had to really come into an understanding of that, of who the Democrats actually were versus the Republican Party. A lot of people try to say they're both controlled by the same entity. I believe that until Trump came into office. I don't believe he's controlled by the same entity. And I know a lot of you people out there who hate him. Y'all gonna say that you are, but that's only because you don't know any civics. You're just emotional, and you just hate. You just got hate in your heart, and you don't take time to analyze things and scrutinize things, and and just see what's right in front of your face. The creator of the balanced universe, y'all will act like God has abandoned you and is not going to leave you with an option. God is not going to abandon you. And there is only one God. There's not two gods. Evil can do whatever they want. They can plan whatever they want. But the creator of the balanced universe has his own plans. And usually the evil people, they're the ones that are not spiritually educated. They're in spiritual darkness. That's why they act the way that they do. And that's why they're always destined to fail. They're not going to succeed because you don't honor natural law principles. And one of them is you have to give in order to receive. That's a natural law principle. So with that, tonight we're having a class. If you want to come and join the class, it is class is growing. There are some seats available. It's at 9 o'clock. As soon as you sign up, you have access to the class. It's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, and now I want to talk about this business trust or this common law trust real quick. Okay, so a lot of people, they are talking about private trust. You hear people throwing around words like, pure trust, living trust, grantor trust, revocable trust, irrevocable trust, like a pure revocable living trust. And I'm going to talk about a couple of those real quick. Okay, there are certain categories of trust, and basically they break down first and foremost. There are statutory trusts, and there are what are termed common law trusts or non-statutory trusts. Okay, when you go to an attorney for a trust, he's going to prepare you a statutory trust. It's going to be like a living trust or something like that. And it's basically a trust that will get the job done, but it's really not a very, very good trust. Those are not the best trusts to get, but they're better than nothing type trusts. That's what I call them. These trusts are holding trusts. They are for the purpose of holding property to be conveyed to a cesticate trust. Now, I intentionally use the word cesticate trust because a lot of individuals out there, they don't know what the word means. They think it's a type of a trust. Cesticate trust just means beneficiary. It's just another word for beneficiary. Okay, or the individual who has an entitlement right to receive a distribution from the trust. So you have a regular trust is used to hold or preserve some sort of property until it's being ready to pass to a beneficiary. Okay, I don't teach those type of trusts on SPC University. The type of trust that I teach on SPC University are business trusts, and these are entities that are utilized to conduct business with in the form of a trust. They come by many different names. Massachusetts Trust, Contractual Organization, Common Law Business Trust. There are unincorporated business organization. There are many different names that you will see it styled as. But these are the superior trust out of all the trusts that are in creation. Now, the thing about a business trust is that it's really not a trust in the strict sense of the word because it's not a vehicle used to hold property to convey it to beneficiaries. It is an entity that is used that can allow individuals to aggregate capital together in an investment scheme, pool their money together and have some trustees manage a concern, in order to make a profit, some sort of profit or gain. Now, in the doing of this, I've seen individuals who have put information out there saying that these kind of trusts are tax exempt. Now, let me speak on that real quick. All private trusts are tax exempt by the very nature of the trust because they're private. They're not in the public, and taxes are in the public. Tax law is public law. It's not private law. There is no such thing as a tax in the public and the private. Taxes are in the public, and taxes are on benefits and privileges dispensed by the government. So, with this type of organization, you're not incorporating it with the Secretary of State. Thus, you're not accepting a benefit and a privilege from the state. So it's going to be tax exempt. Everything private is tax exempt. So saying a private trust doesn't have to pay any taxes is not saying anything. However, I want some clarification because that statement is very misleading. Okay. The IRS goes by what is called form versus substance. They don't look at the formation of the entity, they look at the substance of the transactions that the entity engages in. So, all while a private trust is private, it may have some reporting requirements if it chooses to do business in the public. We all know that the IRS has a statement. Anytime a business effectively does business, effectively connected with a trade or business within the United States, there's going to be a reporting requirement. All right. So when you cross over that line into the public and start engaging in business, there's going to be some sort of taxable event that's going to be created. So don't let these people fool you out there and try to act like, well, I got a private trust. Now I'm just immune from all the taxes in the world, and these entities are bulletproof and they've never been penetrated. That's a damn lie. You can go right now over to Google Scholar and put in private business trust, and you can see a plethora of business trusts over there before the IRS commissioner that's in court right now. Matter of fact, let's take a look at that right now because I don't want y'all to think I'm lying to you. I don't want you to think I'm lying to you. All right, so let's look at this real quick. All right, on Google. So I'm gonna go over to a website called Google Scholar. It's called Google Scholar. Now, Google Scholar is a nice website because Google is attempting to get all the case law that they can find and make it available on the internet. So you could just put in business trust in here, and you're going to get a plethora of cases that involve business trust. And I just pulled this up. I've never read this case before. Right here, uh, let's see what it's about. And a lot of them are usually involving the IRS tax commissioner. This is a 1958 case. Um, let's see what it is. Chief Justice Warren delivered the opinion of the court. This controversy concerns the right to 400,000, part of the corpus of a trust established in Delaware by a settler who later became domiciled in Florida. One group of claimants, legatees, urged that this property passed under the residuary clause of the settler's will, which was admitted to probate in Florida. The Florida courts have sustained this position. Okay, other claimants, appointees, and beneficiaries contend that the property passed pursuant to the settler's exercise of the inter vivos powers of appointment created in the deed of trust. The Delaware courts adopted this position and refused to accord full faith and credit to Florida's determination because the Florida court had not acquired jurisdiction over an indispensable party, the Delaware trustee. All right. So right down here, the trust whose validity is contested here was created in 1935. Dora Browning Donner, then a domiciliary of Pennsylvania, executed a trust instrument in Delaware, naming the Wilmington Trust Company of Wilmington, Delaware, as trustee. The corpus was composed of securities. Mrs. Donner reserved the income for life and stated that the remainder should be paid to such persons or upon such trust as she should appoint by inter vivos or testamentary instrument. You got something called a testamentary trust, a trust that's created by will. The trust agreement provided that Mrs. Donner could change the trustee and that she could amend, alter, or revoke the agreement at any time. Now, this is what is called a grantor trust or a revocable trust, okay? Because she's still exercising control over the trust. An irrevocable trust, she couldn't do that. Once she released the property into the corpus of the trustee is now the owner of that property. There is a basic principle in trust law that all the liability rests with the trustee. And the reason for that is the trustee is deemed to be the owner of the property in the trust. Remember, ownership has liability. Whoever is the owner has liability. This is the reason that you're putting in property inside of a trust because you're releasing liability by releasing ownership and getting into control. The control aspect of a trust is the indenture agreement. So in your drafting of this indenture, okay, you have to exercise knowledge and understanding how to properly draft it, because once you release it, you can never get it back. So how you control a trustee and control a trust is by proper drafting of the indenture agreement. And it could possibly last several lifetimes. You could be dead and gone for centuries and have a trust that is still operating. John Paul Getty Trust in California at the Getty Center is one example of that. J.P. Getty was one of the richest men in the world at his time. He's been dead and gone for over 100 years, and the Getty Center is still flowing, and in that trust is still making money. The trustees still know how to make money. So that's an example of that. All right. This right here, I'm not going to read this entire case, but I just wanted you to see that trust end up in court all the time, and it's usually because somebody didn't draft it correctly. You know, I remember this one guy, he was selling some sort of constitutional trust, and I was reading his case, and they wanted to put an injunction against him from selling the trust. He's selling the trust for about $3,500 a pop. Okay, and the IRS stepped in and said, no, what you're saying about this trust doesn't have to pay taxes is incorrect. He took it all the way to the Supreme Court and lost. Now, I didn't have to go to the Supreme Court because I read it at the U.S. District Court level, and I knew automatically that he was incorrect. Let me explain something to everybody out there listening to me right now. You're only going to get it over here because I'm the person that's going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to sell you a fantasy, tell you that you got a secret account somewhere with billions of dollars in it, tell you can make a special deposit with the birth certificate and get a lot of money or something like that, that you can become the participant of the DTC and have these millions of dollars deposited in an account that you did not earn and you've not done anything to get, and live the rest of your life fabulously, never having to pay for anything, never have to put any type of energy into anything. You're just going to get it because you deserve it because you were born. I'm not going to sell you that dream. What I am going to sell you are equitable principles, meaning that, hey, you shouldn't be put in jail for a crime and there's no injury to anyone. I believe that. No, I don't think somebody should repossess your house and they really didn't loan you any money. Yeah, you need some information to defend yourself against that, or your automobile or your property that you've obtained. But all this stuff that y'all going out there doing, trying to acquire, buy cars and houses and all that, it's just a clown show. It's a clown show. You would best be served spending that energy into having a business or something like that. Because the time that it's going to take you to finally become successful in something like that, it might be a year or two or something like that. You could be working on a business and be making millions of dollars by that time. Instead of you spending all your time trying to get something for nothing, which, by the way, goes against natural law. There is no such thing as something for nothing. Universe is going to make you pay for it, and that's going to make you pay for it is that time that you're going to invest trying to figure it out. You're going to pay. You're not going to get something for nothing. These trusts, let me get back over here. The reason that you want to use these trusts. I appreciate the $9.99. It says, peace, God. I've been listening to you for a few years. Your info is wise. I appreciate you for the knowledge, courage, understanding, and truth you've given me. I know others share the same sentiment. You're welcome. And that's what I try to do because I've been doing this a long time. I remember when I first got into this, all we did every day was get up and go to dealerships trying to get cars. And I can tell you all the conversations we had to learn because, we go in there, we say, hey, look, I need a purchase order and, my trust is going to pay for this. And I need to, I need to take this to my trustee. So I need to get this purchase order agreement and I need to have the finance manager to sign it in wet blue ink. And then I'm going to take it to my trustee and he's going to issue the funds for the purchase of the automobile. We going in that, y'all ain't doing nothing new. We doing all that shit 20 years ago. And I will say this, there are people, a lot of people who do leave with a car. There are people who leave with a car. There are. They need to be careful though, because if something happens and it comes back, they're gonna try come back and try to get the car. Because I know on this end, people have, people contact me. They get in trouble, they get indicted for something, and so you really need to know what you're doing, is what I'm trying to say. You need to make sure you have the proper tax forms filled out and proper disclosures. I wouldn't take possession of any vehicle until the paperwork clears. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't take possession of any vehicle because they could come back and they'll try to arrest you or charge you for fraud or something like that. And a lot of people, they don't understand how to go in there and how to do things correctly in the first place. But the it's getting out of hand. I'm gonna show y'all something else. Let me show you something else. Let me show you something else. I was looking at this today. Okay, this right here is my website. It is my secure party creditor Facebook group. And as you can see, I have 30,200 members in that group, over 30,000 people. And I remember when I started this group, I started it because I was a member of somebody else's secure party group they had on Facebook, and they kicked me out of their group. And I said, that's okay. I'm gonna start my own group. And I started my own group and got bigger than their group. Because it's like, wait, you gonna put me out? I don't give a damn if you put me out. I'll start my own damn group. What's wrong with you? All right, but in having and trying to manage this group, uh, man, I have to, I'm in here every day. I'm kicking people out all the time. Don't come in my group and then start talking about, why are you trying to do a secure party creditor process in the first place? I'm not going to answer the question. I'm just going to kick your bitch ass out. Why? Because my question to you is, why the fuck are you in here? Why'd you come in my group talking this shit? People came in to learn and exchange information. I'm going to kick your ass out. If you come in there and talk about, yeah, I got something to sell you, DM me. As soon as I see that DM, I just kick you out. I don't even give you a heads up. And it's going to be fast. You might think you're going to get it out and, it's going to sit for a while. But I'm checking the group all the time. And I don't even give people a warning because I already told you. You will not be let in if you don't answer all the questions. People try to get access to the group. They don't answer all the questions. Why the hell would I let you in the group? You don't even have enough energy to answer all the damn questions. I just dismissed. You'll never get in. So don't even waste time applying. I'm sitting here telling you right now, you don't answer all the questions. I go right through the questions. Nope, nope, nope. When as soon as I just look at it like 2 seconds, he didn't answer all the questions. Nope, 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 nope. About 30 people. I just don't even let them in. I got 30,000 members. I'm like, nah, you're not even gonna answer all the questions. You're not gonna agree to the terms and rules of the group. I'm kicking you. I'm not even letting you in. But here's some things right here. And I have to say that to people because I don't understand what they thought. I says, so look at this right here. This says this is Fila Nice. And what I usually do, I'll go to these guys like I go to their group and I'll look at their pictures and see who they are and stuff. I say, okay, all right, she might have a real question. Okay, she's a real person. All right, can someone help me get started with the process of becoming a secure party? Now, this individual came in my group asking that, knowing I got a website with training videos on it, and say, can you help me? I said, why don't you come to the website? Now, she can read it, and somebody could possibly help her. It's okay to post, but you know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, damn, I got a website. You can just come over there and join. Training videos, everything. We're doing classes. But no, they don't want to do that. But that's cool, though. That's not a problem. I don't have a problem. She's more than perfectly okay to help that. But I was looking at some of the comments, and some of the comments, and this is what I do. I'll go through these comments And these are good posts for me to get rid of people. It says, yeah, step one, get comfortable reading and don't ask for other people. Yeah, I already kicked out all the people who like don't want to you were saying things like, don't waste your time. So I'm with you. I need someone to go with it. PM me. Avoid people who understand. It's called comprehension and reality. Me too. Watch the videos here and get understanding, then join and do your process. Most of what you need is on SPC University. It is. Okay. All right. So that was a pretty good one. All right. Then I got this one right here. Without foundation, there's no remedy. Where is this? Where was I? Updated on my tax situation. All bills prepaid. Learn step by step. It's not bad. Not a bad post. What is this? Peace, man. Y'all have the opportunity to have my case heard at Georgia Court of Appeals. These state court judges are pure jokes, straight statutory, anti-constitutional courts. Any advice? All right, so this person don't understand. I don't understand what he's asking right here because you're in a secured party creditor group, and I don't know what your issue is. You talking about, help me with the courts. Well, what's the issue? Is it criminal? Is it civil? See, I question posts like this. Like, what was the point of this post? You go down here. It says, how to deposit a birth certificate. Now, I just really think this is just some bullshit information. I watched the video, and I'm like, okay, deposit a birth certificate. And they read statutory codes, and then they misconstrue them and give them another meaning and try to make the birth certificate into some sort of negotiable instrument that can be deposited. And a birth certificate is not a negotiable instrument. It doesn't fit a title. It doesn't. If you look up the definition of certificate of title, it doesn't fit the description. It doesn't fit any of that. But nevertheless, it could possibly be a security because it does represent a real living soul, and a real living soul has the capability of performing labor, and labor does have value. And through some sort of actuary table, you could possibly put some sort of value on a human being where you could create some sort of bond that represents her future labor. That's what we do at SPC University. That's what you're doing with this process that you're sending to the Treasury Department. I see that. But is it a title, certificate of title? Nah, I don't see that. Or is it really a negotiable instrument? Nah, I don't see that. I might see it as a security, but I don't see it as a negotiable instrument. But nevertheless, it's not for me to, none of this stuff is written in stone anywhere. So that's not for me to not for me to judge. Request for waiver of overpayment recovery. Now I've seen this right here, this request for waiver of overpayment recovery. I have a guy, he actually did a process. It's on SPC University. His process actually got put in the IRS employee manual, and they put a lookout for people who are doing this request for waiver of overpayment recovery and things like that. But they probably wouldn't know that unless they read the IRS employee manual. He said, I have a UCC1 on an automobile that was repossessed. What's the process of getting it back? And this person right here always posts anonymously, but I guess he doesn't know that me as the admin, I can just hover over it and I can see exactly who he is. All right, but he says, I have a UCC1 on an automobile that was repossessed. What's the process of getting it back? First of all, sir, just because you put a UCC1 claim on something, did you put it on there after they got the automobile? That's too late. You can't do it after the fact. And also, with automobiles, you don't have the title because you're making payments on it. You got an interest in it, but you don't have the priority interest because priority interest with automobiles is represented by possession of the title. You got to understand that different security interests are perfected in different ways according to the collateral. And with automobiles, it's possession of the title, having it in hand, which is what they have. Also, after repossession, you only got 10 days to get the car back. After 10 days, they're going to sell it at auction, and you ain't going to never get it back. The fastest way to get a repossessed car back is by filing bankruptcy, and it has to be within the 10 days after the car has been repossessed. They're going to send you a letter and letting you know. So, questions like this. What's another one? It says, what is this? There are double 60 amp, 2-pole brakes. There are 4 of them total, so it would take up 8 circuit spaces. I'm willing to negotiate the price. So this person trying to sell something, so I have to remove him and ban him and take down everything that he's ever fucking said in the group. All right, just like that. Let's see, what is this right here? This is Diddy. So Diddy is supposed to be a victim. All right, what does this have to do with SPC University? Nothing. All right, so I got to do what? What I got to do, y'all? I got to remove the posts, ban them, and never let them post anything in the group ever again. All right, person trying to sell something else. Right? Okay, so if a company's threatening to file a UCC lien on me, if I file a lien on my own straw man afterwards, would my UCC filing supersede theirs, or do I need to file mine first? Well, yeah, you got to file it first, but it's not just filing it on you. There has to be some sort of contract and some sort of specific collateral that the company is filing the lien against. They're not filing it on you. They're filing it on some sort of collateral that you have. That's the UCC commercial chambers for personal property. So, I just want y'all to see the kind of questions that we get in this group. And it's a lot of people, it's a large amount of people. They don't understand any of these processes or anything like that. And they ask questions, and no one does any reading or try to do any due diligence before they come in and ask a question. They're just expecting somebody just to tell them something. They're looking for people to tell them what to do. I've done all kind of videos on this channel. It says, can you speak on the importance of lack thereof filing the UCC1 personally on a vehicle owned free and clear whose title was transferred to business trust? Can you speak on the importance of lack? Okay, can you rephrase that? Let me read it to you and you help me because I know you probably probably got a typo. Can you speak on the importance of lack thereof filing the UCC1 personally on a vehicle owned free and clear whose title was transferred to business trust? I don't understand the question at all. It says, I made time for the live eviction. It says, thank you for this use. Okay, it says, do CUSIP numbers help the bond values? How would a CUSIP number help the bond values? A CUSIP just stands for Committee on Uniform Securities Identification Process. Those are the people who issue tracking numbers for securities. It will give it value in the sense that someone, if you have a security or a negotiable instrument and you put a CUSIP or an ISIN number on it, it gives them some legitimacy and somebody will be more willing to accept it. So yes, it will increase the value of it in a certain circle. If you're dealing in the ABA or on the world stage, yeah, CUSIP numbers are going to do that. Most definitely they will, they add legitimacy to your instrument. But not 100% completely. But they do add some legitimacy to it. I'm in personal conflict to do commerce or fight for the private non-corporate community. Okay, I think I understand the question. I'm in personal conflict to do commerce. Okay, why are you in okay, I'm glad this is the perfect question. This is a good question right here. I had a question like that last night in class. A lady, like, Yusuf, what are you teaching? You're teaching us to do secure party 1 minute, and then you're trying to get us to do business the next. All right? I don't understand. Okay, let me see if I can make it clear for you. The public only deals with artificial entities. You can read that on Wikipedia's website. If we go to Wikipedia, we go to Wikipedia real quick. And I put in public law. And read it. It tells you public law is the part of the law that governs relations and affairs between legal persons and the government. Okay, what the fuck y'all can't understand? I don't understand. What it just tells you what public law is. It's between legal persons, a legal person, business entity, read the text here. In law, a legal person is any person or legal entity that can do the things a human person is usually able to do in law, such as entering a contract, sue and be sued, own property, and so on. So they just told you that the public is legal persons dealing with government. Now, I don't know what the fuck to tell you, because if you can't get in your fucking mind that you're not a corporation, you can go visit a million fucking gurus. You're never going to get it. How are you thinking you in conflict and you thinking that you gonna protect the private, but you ain't in the public. The public deals with trust, estates, corporations, companies, partnerships, associations, and individuals, which means organization. Those are all legal persons, ins legis, corporate created entities. If you don't understand that, it's only because your mind is fucked up and you don't understand that you're not an artificial person, which is the problem most people are having in dealing with this. Now, you can find this out for free going to Wikipedia. I tell everybody, public law, private law. That's where I started. I said, well, what is public law and private law? Let me look up the definition of public law. Let me look up the definition of private law. Let me look up the definition of substantive law. Let me look up the definition of procedural law. Let me look up the definition of constitutional law. Let me look up the definition of administrative law. Let me look up the definition of criminal law. Let me look up the definition of tax law. Let me look up the definition of property law. Let me look up the definition of tort law. Let me look up the definition of status law. Let me look up the definition of public international law. Let me look up the definition of private international law. That's how I started. Because I need a foundational understanding before I start trying to do this shit. But none of you want to do it. Y'all just, hey man, I got this car. I'm trying to get a car. My child got taken. I need some help. You're not trying to, the problem that you having in society is because you never were taking the time to be educated on civics. That's why the election is such a big clown show. People are talking all type of crazy. What has the president done for you? Well, motherfucker, the president is head of the executive branch of government. He don't make no laws. The legislature does that. Why you keep asking what the president done for you? The president is the head of the military. It's just basic civics. You get on TikTok. So, in answer to the question, if everything in the public is an artificial person, it would seem like, as a private individual, if you want to do business, because everything the government deals with is business. All the statutory codes are commercial in nature. All of them. Fuck what they talking about. They know it. It's all commercial. Everything in the public is about business. If you don't want to conduct any business, don't take your ass into the public. If you put your your kids in public school, you engage in a form of business. You training your children to be future employees for the government, because that's what public school does. It trains employees to be taxpayers. So once you figure this out, because that's what you got to get in your mind first. Am I competent enough to conduct my own commercial affairs? Because that's what it's being looked at. You're looked at as a person that's incompetent because of what happened in 1933. You got to go get you an attorney when you come to court. You're looked at as incompetent to handle your commercial affairs. You can't come in and engage the business of the court. You don't understand that what these promissory notes are. All this is business. You're dealing with Federal Reserve notes. They securities. They got numbers on them that match the back of your Social Security card. This is all business. Walk outside of your house. Look around. When you get on Uber app, that's business. When you go to the mall, that's business. When you turn on Netflix, that's business. Ain't nothing that you don't do that's not business in some kind of way. So what do you mean you fighting for the private? The word private means the right to be left alone. So do what the Amish do. It says at 65 years, Medicare requires everyone to enroll in Medicare. No, Medicare don't require everybody to enroll. You don't have to enroll in Medicare. It says I went online and stated I was not a U.S. citizen. I'm an American citizen. My app was rejected. How am I going to handle that? They did exactly what the fuck they were supposed to do. Because the only way you can get benefits and privileges from the government is as a U.S. citizen. That's what U.S. citizens are. They benefit receivers. You got to have a social security number. You can't come to them. It's a benefit and a privilege. You ain't no right to no damn Medicare. So if you need welfare from the government, that's what you're asking me, then you need to be a welfare recipient. A welfare recipient is a U.S. citizen. That's a federal citizenship. You have a citizenship within Washington, D.C. So no, they did. You can't get nothing from the government without a social security number and without being a U.S. citizen. That's a benefit and a privilege. That's welfare. Medicare, getting school loans. Like when a woman's on welfare, all that's welfare. That's the welfare state. The government doesn't have any duty to give you government services. The only duty of the government is to protect your borders, protect your property, and protect your liberty. That's what they were constituted for. They got into this business of giving y'all all this welfare shit in 1933 under the New Deal. Study the New Deal and understand what it is that you're dealing with. It says, my apologies, that doesn't relate to trust, but I'm looking to repair my credit. Should I set up a CPN or attack the creditor? Well, if you're repairing your credit, then go get a credit repair company. Why are you trying to get a CPN? You're trying to repair your credit. Go prepare your credit. I don't know what to tell you to do. It should be common sense. Why are you going to ask that? Why would I? Some questions I'll be wondering about. They say, well, should I get a CPN or should I repair my credit? I just told you need to get away from the Social Security number. CPNs are legal if they're done correctly. Let's look at a CPN real quick. This on the FBI website. Down here, footer 35, it says, credit privacy numbers, CPNs are 9-digit numbers that follow the same algorithm as Social Security account numbers. Currently, federal law allows individuals to legally use CPNs for financial reporting and protects those individuals who do not wish to disclose their Social Security account numbers. Individuals who acquire CPNs are completely responsible to any debt they incur using the number. Acquiring a CPN is supposed to be a free service. Therefore, websites that offer CPNs for a fee are most likely scammers. That's not true. That's not true. That last part is not true. There's some very reputable people who sell CPN numbers, but you do need to be careful because sometimes they will sell the same number to a variety of different people. But let me say this right here. CPN numbers have to be legal because Social Security numbers were never created for you to have credit reports on. Social Security numbers are to give to the government and to your employer so they can take money out of your check for your retirement and Social Security. That's the only fucking thing a Social Security number is for. So the question you should be asking, why the fuck are y'all out there giving a private family business called Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax your personal information when they are data mining companies? You can start a credit reporting business. I remember when Experian was I remember what they were called before they became Equifax. They were called something else. They based in Atlanta. I forgot the name of this, like in the late 80s. They weren't, wasn't no Equifax And TransUnion was a company that owned outside the country. They in Europe. It's some European country in America getting information about American citizens. And somehow in y'all mind, y'all think the credit bureaus is some sort of governmental entity. Social Security numbers only required to give to the government. That's it. These attorneys out here is tricking y'all ass because they need you using your Social Security number because that's how they skip trace y'all ass. That's how they find your property. That's how they put you on child support. That's how they put liens against you. Yeah, they want you to be using your Social Security number because they're going to keep you tied to the beast. And I keep trying to explain this. You're supposed to learn how to operate in the public through some sort of entity. They give you one by default and call it an individual, but no, most people don't have the wherewithal to go and look the damn word up. What does this word individual mean? You think in your mind it means you, a real living person. Let's look this word up real quick. I know y'all still ain't gonna look it up. Let's look up this word individual real quick. Let's look it up and see what it say. All right, this is SBC University. This is the dashboard. Now, when you join, you're going to be taken to this dashboard. When you want to come to the webinar tonight, all you do is click this right here, and it's going to take you right here. That's all you do. And we're doing the indenture agreement tonight, and just fill out that, your name and your email address, register, and it lets you into the group, into it. Or you can join here. We have a webinar this Saturday on the secure party and trust class tonight. We have our trust classes on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and I have secure party classes on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And Sunday is tentative because I might skip some Sundays sometime. All right, but those are the classes right there. So I go back to the dashboard. Right here, we got our law dictionaries. This is what you got access on SBC University. We're going to look up this word individual. I'm going to use the Black's Law 8th edition. Go to the eyes. All right, so we're going to look up Control F, individual. Like your individual tax return, individual. Oh, shoot, I clicked on the wrong one. I clicked on J. All right, we got individual in here 57 times. Individual. Let's look at this. Individual. Adjective, existing as an indivisible entity. That's sense one. Sense two, of or relating to a single person or thing as opposed to a group. So we got it called an entity, a person, or a thing. Let's look at this real quick, what an entity is in the first sense of the word. An individual is an individual entity. What is the entity? Entity. Right here. Entity, an organization, such as a business or a governmental unit that has a legal identity apart from its members. So while you sitting here asking me, I'm battling for the private, I'm just in a conflict, Yusuf. I don't want to be in you in a conflict because you don't understand that you're not an artificial person. This is the problem with the majority of people in the world today, especially in the United States of America, while they're arguing about the tax laws. The tax laws were created for corporations and business. It wasn't created for you, the working person. That's why y'all get taxed to death. because you're supposed to have a business. And I know y'all have heard this a million times. You heard it a million times, but you still don't listen. You come to the election and they passing laws, like Elon Musk said, I paid $10 billion in taxes. You know, them fools was in the comment section. He didn't pay more tax than anybody in America, Elon Musk. He paid $10 billion in taxes. And people say, well, he only paid about 5% of his net worth. Like, yeah, you're a businessman. He the one employing you. You get rewarded for starting a business because the business are needed to get employees. Why would they punish the business owner? Well, you're going to destroy businesses when the whole system is composed of businesses? You got a system for businesses and you're going to punish them and make people not want to do business. No, you're going to reward people for doing business. It's a system. It's a game. And the optimal entity that you can use to do business with is an unincorporated business organization. It says unincorporated, which means you don't have to go down to the Secretary of State and register it. It's a private entity. It is an entity that exists because in the Constitution, you got a right to contract unlimited. The government can make no law will infringe on the obligation of contracts. So another name for this unincorporated business organization is contractual corporation or contractual organization or contractual business entity. It's you doing business through contracts. Because all business done with a business trust is done through contracts. Everything. Because contract makes the law. Contract is what private individuals engage in. Let's go back, because we read about public law, right? So right here it says, public law is that part of the law that governs relations and affairs between legal persons and government, between different institutions within a state, and between different branches of government, as well as relations between persons that are a direct concern to society. They're kind of alluding to criminal law right there. Public law comprises constitutional law, administrative law, tax law, and criminal law, as well as procedural law. Laws concerning relation between individuals is private law. Well, what is private law? Private law is that part of the legal system that governs interactions between individual persons. It is distinguished from public law, which deals with relations between both natural and artificial persons, organizations, and the state, including regulatory statutes, penal law, and other law that affects the public order. In general terms, private law interactions between private individuals, whereas public law involves interrelations between the state and the general population. In legal systems of the civil law tradition, it is that part of the jus commune that involves relations between individuals, such as the law of contracts and torts, as it is called in the common law. I was looking for the list. They have a little list on here where it tells you, that private law is property law, contract law, tort law, family law, private international law. That's on the private side. You got to understand the Constitution is a document that separates the public from the private. It separates the public from the private. When you come into the public, you become a legal person because they only recognize artificial entities. So, and when you come into there, that's why they give you a straw man, because to interact in the public, you got to interface with them with some sort of artificial entity. That's why when you look at the senators' names, all of them are in all caps. The name on your caption of your pleading is in all caps. Utility bill in all caps. Your bank checks are in all caps. Everything is in all caps. The all caps represents a fictitious person. Now you are some sort of surety for that. You have some sort of you're amalgamated to that in some kind of way through some sort of presumption of government because you've always filled out applications saying you're a U.S. citizen. Let me get back to the questions real quick. Yusuf, currently putting together my pitch deck for the development. I'm trying to do it here in Austin, trying to secure 85% loan to value and bridge the loan gap with private equity. Thank you for the knowledge. You're welcome. Sounds pretty good. You're going to bridge the gap to 15%. You're going to have some investors come in. So apologies, that doesn't relate to trust, but I'm looking for, let me see right here. What is this right here? They want the fucking easy way and they ain't get, they want the easy way. They ain't gonna never get it. The easy way don't exist. Ain't no easy way. There's no easy way. Sorry, mister. I think the problem lies is that when I speak of private business between we the people, I take the ecclesiastic. It can be ecclesiastic. Private is private. Your private is, if you want to do ecclesiastical, you can do it. You can do whatever you want private. It's just private. Just you don't want the government in your business. That's all private is. Keep the government out of my business, which you have a right to. Wonder why when the guys that are teaching this are hollering and seem to be talking down us. Well, okay, I am talking down to you, motherfucker. Yeah, I am talking down to you. Since you want to put that shit in all caps, I'm talking to your dumb ass. I'm talking to you. Yes, I am talking to you because you won't read. You have the internet. You have Google. You keep coming over here, and I keep telling you to look up words, and you won't do it, but you keep asking the same dumb questions when the majority of them could be answered simply by you looking up the definition of a word. So what am I supposed to do? When we keep telling you to look up the words and you won't do it, and you keep on asking the same damn questions, you keep on trying to get free shit, what we supposed to do? Just keep on, coddling you and telling I understand what you're saying. That's a good question. We supposed to just keep doing that shit? Yeah, I'm talking to your ass. You want the attention? Will these trusts help with mortgage or deed acquisition? No, why would they? Tell me in what kind of way y'all think that having a trust is going to help you with a mortgage? In what way? A trust is just a person like you. It's just what the definition says. They have the ability to hold property, get sued, be sued. It don't have any special kind of characteristics other than the fact that it's a separate individual entity from you. So it doesn't have any, it's not going to magically, you don't have to pay a mortgage anymore. It's not going to magically help you get free shit. I'm amazed. I'm looking on the internet and people telling people this. I'm like, oh, I put my property in a trust. All of a sudden, it's not going to get foreclosed on. That's not true. All of a sudden, I get a trust. I don't have to pay taxes anymore. That's not true. None of that is true. People get frustrated because I'm like, where did you get that from? I know you didn't even get that from reading a document off the internet because none of them say that. And it definitely didn't get it reading it from case law. So we have to ask the question, where are you getting that? You must be listening to somebody telling you that, and you ain't doing your due diligence and investigating it. So that's what we're hollering about. Why the fuck you keep coming over here with this dumb shit? So, if you're going to ask me a question and you don't want me to act like this, then make sure, okay, before I go fuck with this old crazy ass nigga over here on high frequency radio, let me make sure I done looked up all these goddamn words because this nigga's going to clown the shit out of my ass. Like they do in Harvard University. You think them students is coming in there, they valedictorians and salutatorians of their high schools and colleges, and they come into law school, and you come into class, and the professor then told you to read a case, and then you come in and he asks you a question, and you don't know the meaning of a word? He gonna clown you so bad you gonna want to leave school. I've never seen, there is no such thing as, so y'all get paying taxes mixed up with reporting requirements. See, if you're doing business, there's a reporting requirement. Now when you report your taxes, you may not owe any money. But that's another thing y'all get mixed up. Y'all get mixed up reporting requirements with paying taxes. If you're doing business and you do it in the public, you have a reporting requirement. But just because you have a reporting requirement doesn't mean that you owe a tax. Because you might not, because that's what happened with Trump. It was like, well, Donald Trump made, $2 billion and he only paid $750 in taxes. And that $750 is probably because he used his personal credit card to pay for dinner or some shit like that, maybe. He don't have that. Donald Trump is a real estate mogul. Real estate has the best tax shelters than any other thing out in business. Why would you be surprised he ain't paying taxes? Or don't owe a lot of tax? It's amazing to me when I listen to people talk. It's your first live and you're being yelled at and you was just wondering, well, get used to it. Because I have an expectation that you don't do dumb shit. Okay, this is a word game. You're talking about law. How are you going to be over here talking about law? Y'all interacting with each other and you don't know the meaning of goddamn words, or you won't even look the fucking word up. Like people passing this word around, Ccommon trust. I'm trying to fund my Ccommon trust. Like, what the fuck are you talking? Ccommon trust means beneficiary. They didn't even take the time to Google it. Why am I upset? Go on, put in sovereign citizen fail in court. Why don't you do that for me right now? Let's do it right now. Let's do it together. Let's do it together. He said, why are you screaming at me? Why? This is my first live and you're screaming at me. What, you was raised by your mama or something? Right here. Look at all this shit. This all y'all. This all people don't read, regurgitate what they heard. Sovereign summarily ignored, shut down in court. Sovereign citizen failed. Sovereign citizen arrested in court. Sovereign citizen, she's back. Sovereign citizen. Now, granted, when you go through these videos and you listen to some of them, some people are doing some pretty good stuff in there. But the overwhelming majority, they don't know what the hell they're doing. The overwhelming majority are doing what somebody told them to do. Somebody told them to go into court and do this, file this, and go into court. And you can just tell that's what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They do a secure party process. They don't know what they got. Okay, Yusuf, I did my secure party process. Now what do I do next? Just by the very fact you got to ask somebody what to do next, why did you do it in the first place? Why would you try to discharge a debt and not know what to do next? You're going to come to me every step of the way. Yusuf, I gave my negotiable instrument. They wrote me back and tell me, they can't accept that. What do I do next? Listen, when I did my first discharge, I didn't ask nobody what to do next because I had read, studied, and I knew how to do it from A to Z. Wasn't no coming and asking nobody what to do next. I know what to do. There were a couple of little things I was kind of like clouded on, but fortunate enough, I met an individual and he explained it to me and they put all the pieces together for me. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So I understand that people are going to have questions. See, there's a difference between a student and a skeptic. A skeptic don't study shit. A skeptic don't investigate. A skeptic don't look up words. A skeptic watch CNN or MSNBC and believe every fucking thing they told. I ain't got no type of thinking that these people could be hitting you with propaganda. That fucking thought don't even never enter their mind. They just believe exactly. And what's so funny, you got black people, they say the white man is corrupt, but then he come on the news and tell them whatever they want to hear, and he can tell them something about another black man. They believe whatever the fuck that white man on that news tell them. They'll say the white man is the devil, but then listen to that devil tell you something negative about your brother and believe him. This the mind state out here that we dealing with. So let me get back to what I was discussing about the private trust. The trust is a business trust. The word business means that you are engaged in some sort of concern, attempting to obtain some sort of profit or gain. So when you're using this trust, you're not using this trust to hold property. If you're going to put your house in a business trust, okay, because I saw somebody earlier talking about putting a house in a business trust, where you're conveying it to trustees, they probably sell it, liquidate it, or whatever, because all the trustees are concerned with in a business trust is making money. So if the house is being put in there, what you're going to do? You're going to Airbnb it? Is it going to make some money in some kind of way or something like that? But it's for a business purpose it's being used for. Please get away from this stuff. People saying you don't have to pay a tax or what an excise tax is for. Let me show y'all something real quick. Have y'all ever heard of this? It's called a sin tax. A sin tax, also known as a sumptuary tax or vice tax, is an excise tax specifically levied on certain goods deemed harmful to society and individuals, such as alcohol, tobacco, drugs, candies, soft drinks, fast food, coffee, sugar, gambling, and pornography. They give you a tax on that because it's a sin to be engaged in those activities. Did you know that? How are these people trying to tell you? Let's look it up on Wikipedia. In contrast to Bogovian taxes, which are to pay for the damage to society caused by these goods, sin taxes increase the price in an effort to decrease the use of these goods. Increasing a sin tax is often more popular than increasing other taxes. However, these taxes have often been criticized for burdening the poor and disproportionately taxing the physically and mentally dependent. The reason I'm reading this to you is this, because behind this, you can see that there's something dealing with morality or God in some kind of way. I want to tell you this right quick. At behind all of this stuff that you're doing, secure party, all this stuff, it's a spiritual war. It's a spiritual war. And my eyes, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I see. What I see is there's some kind of war where it's like okay, I know we got some Muslims out there. In the Quran, when Iblis was asked by Allah to bow down before a man, he refused. He said, I'm not going to bow down before this man. He is a thing of clay. And I'm made of the smokeless fire, the Narin Samun, the smokeless fire. And he says, he told Lucifer, he said, I know what you know not. He said, you're going to make a human being that's going to cause mischief in the earth. And he said, I know what you know not. So the story behind why Lucifer was cast from heaven, because he was an angel, intelligent, the brightest of the angels, is because he did not want to bow down to man. Because you have seraphim angels and cherubim angels. You got seraphim angels at 180 degree positive and cherubim angels at 180 degree negative. They have the nature. They had to have these natures because some of them are archangels and they're warring angels. So he didn't want to bow down. So Lucifer's whole job is to prove that man is not worthy. You'll see this reflected in some of the movies like Legion, I think was one movie. They were trying to kind of went into it there when Gabrielle switched sides and talking about these human beings, they not worthy. So what's being proven is like, okay, I'm gonna show you like with the story of Job. That is an example. I'm gonna show you this man right here. He's perfect, but he's not worthy. Because I'm telling you, take everything away from him, he'll cuss you right to your face. They showing you, you gave them dietary laws, they don't follow them. You gave them marriage laws, they don't follow them. They don't follow none of that. The whole legal system is built off the church because the first judges were the Levitical priesthood. So that's why your judges have on black robes and the courtroom looks like a church. And you put your hand on the Bible and swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. That's what affidavits are for. You invoking God as a witness. I just found this in a law book. It's a maxim of law. Every time you swear to tell the truth, you're invoking God as a witness. How y'all gonna say God is not inclusive of the law? Everything in the law. It said all law springs from the infinite. That's a maxim of law. The only thing that's infinite is God. It says, if I ask questions that you guys know, please understand the misleading information in the past led me here. I thought that was a time for question, unaware if the topic has been spoken up on prior. Okay, that's cool. Listen, this is the thing. This is all I want from you. I just want you to look up words. That's all I want. I just want you to look up the definition of the words. That's all I'm really asking. Every time I come on the live, I say, look, man, before you use a word, look up the definition of it. The first thing that I learned coming into this space was the law, the words used in legalese have a different meaning than words used in everyday parlance. Like, for instance, the word may, M-A-Y. Let's look at that word real quick. May. Look at this word. All right, may. To be permitted to. That's the first sense of the word. Second sense, to be a possibility. Third sense, loosely is required to, shall, or must. So the third sense of the word may means must. Now, how did I come to that understanding? Well, there was actually a let me see if I can get this for you and show you this. All right. So, all right, so right here, this is the Georgia Criminal Code. Okay, so in this book right here, this is in Georgia, this is Title 17. I'm reading I found out that whenever they convict somebody of a crime, everybody in Georgia, and this is probably in all 50 states too, they put a lien on them. So right here, this is OCGA 1711-1, imposition of cost of prosecution upon the defendant generally. This is the assessment and payment of costs of a criminal proceeding. It says the cost of a prosecution, except the fees of his own witness, shall not be demanded of a defendant until after trial and conviction. If convicted, judgment may be entered against the defendant for all costs accruing in the committing and trial courts and by any officer pending the prosecution. Now, a person that is reading this that never looks up any words, that is going to be saying, well, Yusuf, why are you hollering at me? They want to come and play in the sandbox of legalese without a law dictionary. They come without their tools, without the right state of mind, no matter how many times that you try to warn them or tell them that this is a word game, it's an entirely different language. You can press that on their mind. They still don't get it, but they want to be over here with the intellectuals playing in this sandbox and feel as though they never have to look up a word. And they'll see that word and assume that they know the meaning of it. And then I tell them, I say, well, look, you can't read just statutes on the internet. You need to go into the law library and pull the book off the shelf and read the case law to see how the judges construed this statutory code when some different facts appeared in the case. So down here we have, judge has no discretion in the matter of taxing costs. While the word may ordinarily denotes permission and not command, the use of that word in the second sentence of this section cannot be construed to mean that the trial court, a judge, is vested with discretion in the matter of taxing the costs against the convicted defendant. There is no provision of law for the payment of the fees of the officers of the court when the judge in the judge's discretion fails to tax the costs against the convicted defendant. Notice they call it a tax. And it cannot be assumed that it was ever intended that the compensation of these officers should rest in the discretion of the judge. So right here in this is Pound versus Faulkner, volume 193, Georgia, page 413. They're telling you that may means must, just like it does in the dictionary that we just looked at. The third sense of the word may in the Black's Law 8th edition. So you can't presume that you know the meaning of a word. So the reason I'm always talking is like people like Sester, they'll throw words around and I'm like, did you even look up the word? Why are you in our group using this word? And it's obvious to me and anybody else that you don't know what it means. And then these attorneys are looking at you and they say, man, that's just some of that sovereign citizen shit. They crazy. The motherfuckers over there crazy. That's why they saying what they saying. And I'm sick of it. That's why I'm hollering. Because they think you're stupid. And they're right. Because you're lazy. And you want something for nothing. Somebody said, haven't done any of the processes yet, but I just been found guilty for driving under suspension by saying that they cannot prove I intentionally drove under suspension after learning from you. Well, what are you talking about? I mean, what do you mean intent? I don't think intent has anything to do with that. Your license is suspended. It's suspended. You know what I'm saying? It's suspended. That's a benefit and a privilege. They can take that away from you at will. You can't battle in their sandbox of benefits and privileges. You can only contest them from your sandbox of rights. You don't have no right to drive. That's a benefit and a privilege. I can get into that. I know people want to argue with me. Driving is a commercial activity. Let's look at the word. See, like he used the word, he said, I was convicted for driving under suspension. What does the word drive mean? Have you researched that word? And then he said, after learning from you, what, you don't understand that mens rea? You don't have to learn that from me. You have for the mind to be guilty, you must be guilty. It has to be criminal intent. Just because you say you didn't intend to do it, that don't mean that you do, because if you go in there and try and they start asking you questions, the questions are formulated in such a way to see whether or not your conscious mind and subject conscious mind are in agreement. And if they're not, you lying. So you saying you didn't know your license was suspended? Clown me and tell me where to read, but you saying that to say in the private, I need to create a trust and operate a business upon the trust instead of going to the state and filing for LLC. I ain't say none of that shit. See how they added shit? When did I bring up an LLC? I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. That's not the only way you can stay private. You can stay private by not doing no business. Keep your fucking ass out the public. I just told you can do what the Amish do. Public and private is dealing with taxes. Either you're paying a tax or you're not paying a tax. Because everything in the public is a benefit and a privilege. If you register your business, that's a benefit and a privilege. They tax you on that. Haven't you read Hell versus Hinkle? Let's read Hell versus Hinkle real quick. Let's read Hell versus Hinkle. Let's read Hell versus Hinkle. You should have read this book right here, Abatement of Common Law. Hell versus Hinkle. All right. This up here is the private. This is the public. A judge is trying to explain it to you. He's going to tell you what the private is. I'm going to let a judge explain it to you, because I don't want you fucking saying that you learned it me, because you ain't going to learn a goddamn thing from me. You're going to read this shit yourself and say, I read Hell versus Hinkle, because you can't take Yusuf L told me this into the courtroom and then come out and say, well, you know, I did what you told me to do and it didn't work. You got to take case law into the courtroom. So right here it says, we are of the opinion that there is a clear distinction in this particular between an individual and a corporation, and that the latter has no right to refuse to submit its books and papers for examination on the suit of the state. Talking about a corporation. The individual may stand upon his constitutional rights as a citizen. Notice they wrote citizen with a capital C. Everywhere before the 14th Amendment, the word citizen is written with a capital C. Everywhere after the 14th Amendment in the Constitution, you see the word citizen, it's written with a lowercase c. That's the difference between a proper noun and a common noun. So he's entitled to carry on his private business in his own way. His power to contract, because that's how we do business through contracts, is unlimited. He owes no duty to the state or to his neighbors to divulge his business or to open his doors to investigation so far as it may tend to incriminate him. He owes no duty to the state since he receives nothing therefrom beyond the protection of his life, liberty, and property. Remember, I told you that the only thing that you get from the government as a private individual is the protection of your life, liberty, and property. That's it. That's all you want from the government. If you get anything more than that, you're taking a benefit and a privilege. You have the right to conduct your private business the way that you want. You have the power to contract unlimited. His rights, as such, as from law of the land, long antecedent before the organization of the state. Your rights existed before the organization of the United States of America, and can only be taken from him by due process of law. That's going to be in the Fifth Amendment, not the 14th, because the 14th Amendment for the artificial person. You got due process of law under the Fifth Amendment. You got due process of law under the 14th Amendment. and can only be taken from him by due process of law and in accordance with the Constitution. Among his rights are the refusal to incriminate himself, pleading the fifth, and the immunity of himself and his property from arrest or seizure except under warrant of law. He owes nothing to the public so long as he doesn't trespass upon their rights. Another problem y'all have is you don't understand the rights of the public. You got a constitution. They do have a delegation of authority. They have rights. It's called the public rights doctrine. You won't look it up, though. I just said it, but you'll never look it up and you'll never study it. And you come here talking shit to me, and then I'll start screaming at you like, man, did you look up public rights doctrine? Did you look up plenary power doctrine? Did you look up, do you understand the 7 principles of the Constitution? How the fuck are you in here talking about your rights and you never even read the goddamn Constitution? Are you crazy? I'm going to do a constitutional webinar. That's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna add a class into that. He says, it says, I don't think it helps that I have the whole conversation recorded where he told me if I don't sign the signature bond, he was taking me to jail. Okay, I have a video called How to Sign Your Name Without Liability. Let's look at it real quick. One of the things that you have to understand if you're going to do any of these processes, how to sign your name without liability. Okay. Did you take time to watch
when the
this
name
video?
of the rep
How to sign your name without liability? And then let me put the link in the chat. So y'all can have it in the chat. If you're going to be a sovereign, you got to understand how to sign your name. So when that happens to you, let me put the link in the chat. Okay, one of the things that should be in your toolbox is how to sign your name. You don't want to get into an argument with an officer. I've had officers do that to me. I signed my name a certain way. He tore it up in front of me and then whispered in my ear, motherfucker, you better sign this that way. I'm taking your ass to jail. That's what they tools of trade, threat, duress, and coercion. That's what they use, threat, duress, and coercion. How are you going to withstand that? Fear is a choice. Because God done told you a million times, don't be afraid. Right here in Revelation chapter 2:9. Revelation 2:9. Let's read it real quick. What'd he say? No, it's 2:10. I'm sorry, 2:10. 2:9 about the Jews. 2:10. Do not fear. Do not be afraid of what you're about to suffer. I tell you that the devil will put some of you in prison and test you, and you will suffer persecution for 10 days. That's how long contempt lasts when you're belligerent. Be faithful even unto the point of death, and I will give you life as the victor's crown. What some of you, because you done took God out of your life, you don't want to put God to the test. You don't want to put God to the test. You don't have no faith in God. That's why your life is fucked up. You want to blame Trump and shit. You want to blame the Republicans. You want to blame, high taxes and all. Let me tell you something. High taxes and high prices, all that's just relative. If gas prices is $5 a gallon, $5 a gallon don't mean anything to a person making $1 million a month. It's relative. Well, how did I make $1 million a month, Yusuf? It's called the law of attraction. Let's look at it real quick. You turn your back on God. Mark 11:22-27. Y'all remember this? So Jesus answered and said, have faith in God. For surely I say to you, whosoever says to this mountain, the mountain represents something in your life, Some huge problem you got in your life. You can't get over it, can't get under it, can't get around it. You don't see how you gonna take care of it. You don't see no way out. It's a mountain. You tell this mountain to be removed and be cast into the sea. And does not, but here are the qualifications. You cannot doubt it in your heart. The double-minded man can hope to receive nothing from the law, from the Lord. The law lords over everything. Be removed and be cast into the sea and does not doubt it in his heart. Where is your heart? The subconscious mind. The subconscious mind. What does it say in the Proverbs? Guard your heart, for out of it are the issues of life. We'll read that next. I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be removed and be cast into the sea, and does not doubt it in his heart, but believes the things that he says will be done. He will have whatever he says. Therefore, I say to you, whatever things you ask for when you pray, believe that you have received them and you will have them. He gave you the same formula that everybody in the law of attraction teaches you. It's the now. It's called the power of now. You can't be in the past because the past and the future don't exist. The only thing that exists is the eternal now. Too many of you are living in the future and you're letting life pass you by right now. Your thoughts have to be rooted in right now. The subconscious mind understands right now. It doesn't understand future and past. Those are fictions. So you got to convince your subconscious mind that you already got it. You got to fake it until you make it. And it will automatically manifest whatever it is that you have in your mind. But you don't believe that. It don't matter how many wealthy books you can read. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. You can read The Master Key by Charles Handel, the book that Bill Gates read and he dropped out of college and became a billionaire. You can go and read The Secret. You can go and read The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. You can go and read As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. You go read all these books, but you don't believe none of that shit. And these people tell you that everybody who's successful reads 2 books a week. But no, you rather be on here wasting your time trying to figure out how you get something for nothing. When the universe abhors a vacuum, and God then told you in this book also that you have to give in order to receive. If that is true, then please explain why the courts ignore them when you send them in a traffic ticket. There are 3 different times we've tried and we were told those things don't mean anything. I don't know what you mean they don't mean anything. They told you that. Take me into court with you and let me see how you get down. See, you got people who say that right there, but when they get into court, watch them in court and see how they get down. They don't know what the fuck they be doing. They just think they just say something. Ain't no magic words. You got to embody this. The reason that you're on here asking me the question because you don't believe what you were saying. Because if you did, you would have been verified in the law books what you're doing as the correct thing. And you wouldn't be asking me, well, why did they ignore it? They probably ignored it because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to move the court. You don't know how to put in an affidavit. You don't know how to file a motion. You don't know how to form an objection. You don't know how to do an appeal. It's not about right or wrong. It's about what you can prove. You don't know how to put evidence in. Ain't no fucking magic words. We got the magic word people. Hey, tell me the magic word so I can go in court and make all my problems disappear, Yusuf. Yeah, right. Thus saith the Lord that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou, Jerusalem, whom I have chosen. Well, I'll give you another one. Give you another one. It's in Matthew. How many times did Jesus tell you have to have a faith of a mustard seed? Truly I tell you, Matthew 17:20. He says, truly I tell you, if you have the faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. You don't believe that, though. It's like this dude in the chat right here. He wondering why he fell in court, because he don't believe in what he's doing. He don't study principles of law. He don't know that you lose when you give up. The first person who loses the battlefield loses. He don't understand that we are in an adversarial system. He don't know what a belligerent claimant is. He thinks he just needs to go in there and say something, even though they got all his information up there in front of him. They can see he's been a U.S. citizen all his life. He's been accepting benefits and privileges all his life. And all of a sudden now you want to come in here and claim that you're not that. Why are you in court in the first place? What did you do to get in court? Look at this. He said, look at this. He said, I have court tomorrow and have tried to file an affidavit with the court 3 times. I ain't never, ever been refused in filing nothing in court. Not ever. That tells me something wrong with what you're trying to file. And the clerk is not taking it. Because the clerk doesn't look at what you are filing. She look at the form of it. He says, they rejected it and said there was no mechanism for them to accept it. I then mailed it through registered mail. Well, what was it? You said it was an affidavit. How did it look? I've never had a problem filing anything with a clerk. Clerks don't get into what's in your document. They don't do that. That's for the judge to determine. So if they're not accepting it, it's something wrong with it. And they can't give you legal advice, so they're not going to tell you. They're just going to reject it. If she didn't look at it, then that's something about you. They know who you are. What are you supposed to do? Why you ask me a question? You take a document. Do y'all believe that? Do y'all believe he took an affidavit in court and the clerk refused to, he went down to the clerk. Who's ever going into court and filed a document? You go down to the clerk's office to file something and they just refuse to file it just because they looked at you and said, no, they didn't even look at the document. They just refused to file it. This is the type of shit I be contending with. And they say there's something wrong with the process. I know that you're doing something wrong because clerks don't do that. No matter how corrupt that y'all try to make them, they don't do that. They don't do that. All our job now is 7-year-old court fees in 2 counties outside of that. I'm trying to remain in honor. I had a lengthy conversation with a. Listen, man, I ain't never had a clerk refuse to file anything of mine. I just never had that, so I don't know what to tell you. I know how clerks get down. You knew the caption of your pleading. They looking at the caption. If the caption matches what there is acceptable for that jurisdiction and everything is done correctly, they have no reason to not accept it. I just ain't never had that happen to me. But I hear people say that all the time, but I've never had it happen. But when I look at their paperwork, I'm saying, okay, I see why she rejected it. But it's usually something in the form, not in the substance, is all my point is. No, they can't tell you. And I'm going to tell you, I'll give you a story. I'm going to give y'all a story. One time I was helping a client file we was filing a deed acknowledgement. Rob Ryder, he came out. Y'all can get on the internet and watch his videos on YouTube. His name is Rob Ryder. Accept the deed and be the owner. Okay, this was back in 2010, 2011. So I went into the clerk's office to file this deed acknowledgement, and the clerks refused to file it. I had on a suit and everything. I had all the paperwork done correctly, and I said, I said, you refusing to file it. Why you refusing to file it? She said, we can't tell you. And so I said this to her. I said, I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and go back and make the necessary changes. But when I come back to this clerk's office, I want all y'all oath of office. And then she pulled me to the side and said, sir, the only problem is you got the paperwork in the wrong order. Just put this go on top, this go right here, and this go right here, and you have to hand it to me in the right order. That's all that was wrong with it. The paperwork had to be in a certain order when I handed to her. It could be something like that. She just told me in that instance, but it could be something really not anything. But they're not supposed to give you legal advice. Probably go, the judge just says things are outside the rules, never states which rule. Any other time, he dismisses them and believes he is immune when he is not. Well, as long as he operates within the ambit of his delegated authority, he is immune. If he's following all the procedures correctly, he's immune. He is immune. Next, the thing about it is, it's up for you. It's the objection. You ask for what rule is violating. Ask for it. And make sure you have a court reporter in there. And get it on record, because that's what appellate courts are for. I've had filings rejected by the Supreme Court, but my filings were returned with instructions on proper form. So if your filings were rejected, it is because it is in improper form for sure. Ain't that what I just said? I just said that. What I just said is form. They don't go into the substance. Clerks don't care about the substance of what you're filing. They're only concerned with form. That's what I just said. Something in the form. And that's why I tell people to go get you a forms and pleadings book so you can learn how to properly draft paperwork. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, please go get you a $69.99 membership so y'all can come over here and watch me put paperwork together, because that's what I do on my webinars. I sit right in front of you and draft up paperwork and show you how to put it together in proper form. In Georgia, you could go down to Emory University around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or maybe on a Saturday, and go in there and ask the clerk, can I get a forms and pleadings book? A Georgia forms and pleadings book. They are on the shelf. I ain't been there in a minute, but they usually got computers right there around where the students are sitting, and the forms and pleading book is right there when you first walk in. It's a shelf of all the reference material with all the dictionaries, the forms and pleadings books, the American jurisprudence, the Corpus Juris Secundae, and all those books. And right there, they got a whole shelf of different, Westlaw forms and pleadings, Matthew Bender forms and pleadings, American jurisprudence has forms and pleadings, and Georgia has forms and pleadings book. And you get that book, and they got something in there for everything. That's what the attorneys use. All right, they already have a template. So if you use the template and then just modify it to whatever you need, your paperwork will never get rejected. That's how you learn how to put together paperwork. But y'all just try to throw some shit together and expect them to accept it. Anyway, it's 6:45 right now. He doesn't operate when it is authority. He has to be a custody. There has to be a custody dispute to award custody when the parents are married and they don't have an abuse complaint filed to the Child Protective Services, yet he did anyways. Well, okay, so you talking about Child Protective Services. So that's another issue right there. If Child Protective Services is involved, they're going to take the child because they're saying the child is in danger some kind of way. So, like they do, the Child Protective Service do a lot of illegal shit. I ain't going to lie about that. But Once again, you got to be very careful about that. It's like that's an iffy situation right there. But you gotta fight them. And I don't know, how did they get your child too? That's the next thing. I hope you didn't take them into the hospital. That's why you got to be cautious about taking your children into a hospital. The first thing comes to my mind is this lady. She got this on this website. It's called the Judges Slush Fund, and she was battling Child Protective Services. And she did a Freedom of Information Act request on the courthouse and found that these courts are private trading companies. I'll show you that real quick. Let me pull this up. It's called the Judges Slush Fund. And this is it right here. If you watch this video, it's a part one and a part two. Watch how she got down on, because this was about Child Protective Services. And what she found out, she got a whole bunch of children back because she found out that they were using X-rays showing that the child was abused, but they were using that same X-ray on a whole bunch of different cases and stealing children and putting them in Child Protective Services because they make a profit off of this. But the only way she was able to find this out is she did a Freedom of Information Act request on this court and got all the information and found it out. So you should watch this case and get some understanding on it, and maybe you could do the same thing, because it definitely is something. I've never had a problem with Child Protective Services, but this was definitely very, 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 very interesting. Everybody on this live should watch it. Um, I'll put the link in the chat. There's a link right there in the chat. All right, y'all. I know y'all tired of hearing me hollering and screaming. I was just in that mood to holler and scream. I ain't hollered and screamed in a long time. I do some hollering and screaming today. Then I did all that hollering and screaming, and nobody gave me no donations. That is just so bad. Let's get the likes up. I got 209. Can I get the likes up to 400? I know y'all ain't gonna give me no money, so can I get the likes up to 400? Follow me on Instagram. Class is at 9 o'clock tonight. We are going over a trust indenture agreement tonight. We're going to look at a trust indenture agreement because I want to try to bring some reality to what it is that we're studying. Because people are asking me questions now, and I feel I'm at a time now where I can start going through the indenture agreement and then letting them see how all this stuff, these trusts are put together. You say you thought you seen a 50 donated? No, man, I guess y'all didn't like me screaming at y'all today. So, I'm cool. That's okay. I'm good. I'm good. That's all right. Quick question. UCC1 filing, if birth certificate doesn't have a name, can I use it? How your birth certificate don't have a name? What kind of question is that? That don't even make no fucking sense. How you gonna file a claim on something that don't have a name? Y'all need to just stop asking ridiculous questions. Ridiculous questions. You see why I be screaming and shit? Look at the type of questions I be getting. The attorney general in my case didn't even have an oath of office, and I pointed that fact out. Okay, well, you saying they don't have a. Hey, brother Yusuf, if I join for 1 month, can you see past? Yeah, you can see everything. Yeah, you can see everything. You see everything. You got access to everything. Everything I've done in the past, everything I've ever done. I put every webinar I've ever done in the last 10 years is on there. You see all of them. You see all of them. It says I have a partition case inherited. I have been the sole caretaker of the property. Second party is foreclosing me the contract by selling. I file a bond. Well, I mean, how they selling it if they got an interest? See, that's the first thing that's gonna come to my mind is somebody selling something they got an interest in it. What you got title to it? I appreciate the $10. Just tuning in, but I got a dime for you, big bro. I appreciate it. Appreciate the dime. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Look, I got to get off. I got to get off now because I get ready for class tonight. But I understand some of the things that I'm saying, y'all. Because I'm hearing people talking about business trust. They throwing around all this stuff. Nobody is doing any type of due diligence or investigating and trying to learn things. It started by just looking up the definition of the words. Would y'all please do that for me? All right. The meaning of words is what gives you comprehension. If you read something and you don't comprehend it, it is always because there are words in the sentence you don't know the meaning of. So you're going to have to put in some effort of looking up words. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all on the next live. All right. Peace to the gods. I'm out.